This is MLB The Show 25. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the videos. Subscribing is great as well. This is the latest iteration in the long-running baseball simulation series, and one that actually has been on the Xbox side of things for quite a few years now. Well, it's not necessarily relevant to the review. This is actually the first year that the game will debut and launch not on Xbox Game Pass, as it has since the series has been pushed over the inception of the series on the Xbox side of things. It's always launched as a day one Game Pass release. This is the first year where it is not going to be doing so, and I would imagine that's very likely going to be the state of things going forward, as that was more of an introductory thing to get players, used to the game on Xbox, since Xbox didn't have a baseball franchise for many, many years. So this is an interesting entry. It's next-gen only, as they say, which means it's a current-gen only title. And then there's also the Switch. But anyways, I digress. It's just focused on Series XS. And while that is the case, we're not necessarily seeing a massive change-up of tech, as I would imagine that's something that's going to be presented a little bit further down the line. So we've got some new improvements, largely expansions upon existing game modes here. So, keep in mind, it's about the same. It's just some of the modes and the progression have been adjusted, and we'll be going over that as we dive here and play this experience. But yeah, there are things that have been changed up, like how you do your passing out in the outfield and stuff. It's got a little bit more of a shifted, adjusted meter for sort of throwing the ball to the different bases, and then hitting and stuff about the same, but there is an adjustment for like ambush hitting system. The PCI size can be influenced by guessing where a pitch will land in the strike zone, so that kind of changes things up a bit. But as per usual, you bat, you pitch, you play the different positions to a degree, depending on what's going on, and depending on the mode and everything like that. Lots of different camera angles and settings, and a new camera angle too, so you can actually do, it's a little bit of a switch up there, so you can actually get a perspective where you are viewing like the field kind of thing. So, there's like these reaction cameras. So in the crowd, there's like, oh, you're in the crowd, and it's kind of like the idea of that, but you're now first-person fielding camera. So that's what that is. Trying to give you a little bit of context there. So it's more of an immersive new viewing angle. And I've noticed a couple of the sports games kind of doing that, where they're sort of running out of things to do, and they implement like something like that, which is interesting. But other than that, like I went back and kind of looked at some footage from previous years too, and it does, again, visually look about the same. To the eye, it does look like the kind of area here looks a little bit better for the crowd, but I was kind of looking similar, because it's something I've complained about, where the crowd, like this crowd right here, should be really detailed, because you spend a lot of time looking at them, and it does, at least to my eye, kind of look a little bit better this year. But I was looking at previous video years, and I was like, it's kind of similar. But it's something that you look at a lot, because when you're pitching, this is what you see, this fixed angle, and you're like, this should be the most detailed. And with that, like the text, kind of where it says like MLB Shop and stuff like that, I wish it was a lot more sharper. Like it kind of looks really like blurry-ish. And again, it's something you kind of spend a lot of time looking at, which might sound dumb, but you really do. It's a 4K resolution at 60 FPS with HDR, as per usual. There is local co-op or local multiplayer up to 4, and online up to 8 as well. Alright, so like gameplay and stuff like that, everything's fine. It's the best simulation out there for baseball. The only one? Yeah. It covers everything pretty extensively, the way you kind of throw the ball, the way you bat, everything's pretty technically detailed. For new feature-wise difficulties, there's a bazillion different difficulty settings, so anyone should be able to play this game. You can literally have it like practically play for you on some lower difficulties, and then I think there's like at least several difficulties. And they added a new one called Goat, you know, like the GOATs, not just kidding, like greatest of all time or whatever, which is like a hey there, fellow kids kind of mode naming option. So if you want the absolute pain of the hardest difficulty ever imaginable because you were so good at baseball and you want the ultimate challenge, you can be the GOAT, I guess. So that's an option for you. Field enhanced reaction times have been adjusted. Revamped throw accuracy meter, like I mentioned. We got like swim move slides, so basically a little bit more realistic kind of sliding into things, you know, as far as your movement out there in the field in the zone. That's kind of the big gameplay changes. Really, there's not a whole lot of wildly adjusted kind of gameplay mechanics there. Like, obviously, they tweak things, they tweak mechanics, animation, stuff like that every year, but it's not really like a big highlighted focus thing. Oh, and this presentation info stuff, kind of that's been advanced a little bit more. Road to the Show, as I mentioned, kind of had the first-person fielding camera, was kind of highlighted under that mode for whatever reason. So here is where we're getting one of the big kind of like upgrades and overhauls and improvements, just to take it a little bit further. So you can go from high school to college to the amateur years. You build your player, you build your journey, and you make your way through. And there's 8 licensed college teams. So I'm assuming that is something that they are going to... Oh, wow, that went right to a... I'm assuming that's something that they are going to be enhancing, is the idea of, like, over time, that is. The idea that you make your way up through the different leagues. Which is not anything too crazy, because we've seen that over the years in other sports titles where it's like, oh, you're in, you know, high school and you're making your way through and stuff, and you make your athlete and you build your way through the leagues, and you know, it's nothing too crazy, but it's pretty cool for this if you want to actually take a full progressional journey through a baseball career. So that is something to keep in mind if that interests you. We got Diamond Dynasty, which, again, what kind of self-respecting sports franchise in the modern era doesn't have a card-based mode. This one has actually gotten a lot of adjustments this time around. So it's now a year-round setup with an overhaul for how everything kind of functions. Removal of sets and seasons. You build your fantasy team from across the eras, as per usual. And we've got a couple new main mode sections within this. It's all the usual stuff, you know, like play kind of with others, everything like that. It's all the same as usual. But we got 2 specifically new adjust modes. Diamond Quest, which is a new roguelike where you earn rewards, and there's boss encounters. So a roguelike, it's basically just something that's a bit more randomized, something that's a bit more twisty-turny, you know, something that's going to keep it a little bit more fresh as you aim to play the game. And then there's Weekend Classic, which is a more high-octane ranked setup of events. And those are kind of the 2 big additional mode things within this mode, because obviously Diamond Dynasty is something that keeps getting like tweaked and changed and enhanced and adjusted over the years, because it's obviously a big part of the experience for this this game. Kind of wondering why we didn't just stop there. March to October is basically the same. Play the key games to propel your squad to the postseason. Same as usual. Franchise. This was reworked a little bit. So franchise mode, obviously as it entails, you are managing a team, and you are making your way in the league. You're trying to win glory for your club, you know. And they've adjusted how you build things, the rewards of how you kind of build up your team and how you manage your team, and then a much more dynamic and free working free trade setup. So the free agency, how players kind of move around, it's supposed to be a bit more of a dynamic setup for how, well, you'll basically manage your squad and the challenges involved there. So kind of a cool thing, you know, if you play franchise mode. Storylines continues. So storylines are kind of these, I guess you would say, preset scenarios that you are playing with and interacting with. And these range from historical stuff to Well, I guess it's mostly historical, but some of it is like, oh, you do like a highlight of a player or something some years, and I think you understand what I'm talking about. So storylines, just narrative content that they kind of bake into this, and they certainly do have some interesting options for kind of like living and understanding of events. Oh, why did I swing at that? We've also got the traditional regular modes. Classic, exhibition. You know, when I play those games, sports games, I usually play exhibition stuff. That's just kind of what I'm into. Jump in, play matches, just have some fun. Probably a little bit more of a casual user in comparison to others because of that, but, you know, that's what I'm kind of into. I don't really get too crazily involved in the other modes. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. We've got daily lineups, retro mode where it's like a throwback kind of thing, where it's literally like retro baseball, kind of like RBI was when it existed as a thing. Oh. Moments, so special moments that happen. Home run derby, where you're just trying to like get home runs. Challenge of the week, practice area, and then online. You know, just kind of a quick online play, co-op, postseason, leagues, regular session setups, tournaments, everything like that. Same as usual. So, from a certain point of view, it's kind of the same game as per usual. It does visually look great. It does run well. There are some weird, like, fuzz kind of moments. I don't know how well that shows up when I'm recording and stuff. But, like, there's this camera angle where basically it's, like, the player and then it's, like, a field of grass behind them and it's got, like, a fuzz. It's kind of weird looking. But other than that, pretty well polished. Looks good. Accurately, you know, creates the various athletes and the design of the game and the sports and everything like that. So, no real complaints there. Fundamentally, it is something that you will likely be used to if you've played baseball in years past. Challenge will be based on how good or how bad you are. If you're coming from the previous year, it's mostly going to come down to whether or not you find interest and intrigue in the additions to the existing modes that exist within this game. Like, it's fine, it works, everything's good, I don't really have any problems at all. It's fun, you know, I like playing this every year, I enjoy coming in and enjoying the experience of baseball. They've got basically everything you need, from regular, you know, the full licensed team sets, there's the custom setups, so you can personalize stadiums and play personalized stadiums or customized stadiums, and it's pre-baked with all the regular kind of areas. And of course we're playing here in the Rogers Center because the one year somebody called me out for switching, I think it was, and I was like, oh, my bad, because I usually always, you know, do the same sort of setup and stuff. This is the fan cam, is what I was talking about, where they get like little quirky camera angles, and you know, the crowd's got some variety and stuff to them, I guess, and yeah, it's just all kind of fine, you know. Again, customization, create your own stuff, lots of personalization and enhancements for the experience you want. That's all great. Got all your different modes, card-based mode, co-op modes, franchise handling. I'm not really sure what else you add at this point, honestly. I do think we are kind of due for a big graphical upgrade at some point down the road. I do definitely think that that is something we can work towards, but yeah, it's kind of business as usual, which isn't a bad thing. You know, it's a great baseball game. I don't, like I said, really have any real problems with it. It gets the job done. It's fun, it's engaging, it can be challenging, dynamic difficulties, or just a straightforward, strict difficulty. Yeah, got a little bit of everything for every type of baseball player out there. Are you serious? Are you casual? Tons of different places to play, tons of different players to enjoy and use, and see how they have like little quirks and stuff. Lots of ways to use your bat as you swing and fail miserably like I did. But yeah, it's an enjoyable experience. I don't really have any more things to really go on about. It's kind of a typical year release, and big change for the Series X, obviously, because we don't have the Game Pass release, and I'm sure that'll be the thing going forward. But here's some non-commentary gameplay, and hopefully that covered everything for you.
So just about set now, and pitching in this one for the A's, Luis Severino.
Well, I'm interested to see how he utilizes his sinker to this lineup, Boog. It's not necessarily his go-to primary pitch, but he does mix it in when he needs it. He's just got to make sure that it's not flat. Otherwise, it's going to get hit hard. So look for him to throw it up there when he needs a big double play, a ground ball, something like that to get out of an inning, change it up for a hitter. Also, get those hitters looking down so it opens up the top of the strike zone, especially late in an at-bat.
Next offer in there for a strike. And it's 0-2. And it's fouled off. They'll do it again. That one's upstairs, ball 1. Out to center. Bleday puts it away, and there's one down. Lau at the plate.
The second baseman, Brandon Lau.
Severino, multi-time All-Star, 31 years old, and he was born in the Dominican Republic. There's the strike, 95 of that one. Swing and a miss, struck him out. 2 away now. 2 outs, base is empty. Junior Caminero digs in now. That one's in there. That's strike 1. And that one fouled off. 2 outs, base is empty. Cut on and missed, and it's a strikeout, and that is bottom of the first. Now it's the right fielder, Lawrence Butler, as the lefty gets to work. Fly ball down the line, and that drops foul. And he couldn't hold back. He's rung up on strikes. Brent Rooker up next for the A's. Outfield playing very deep, not wanting anything over their heads. Next offering, pop foul off to the right out of play. 1 out, base is empty. Check swing, called strike. Foul ball left side. He'll see another. A little bit high. And the count 1-2.
Looks like he thinks that should have been a strike at the top of the zone, but doesn't seem to be too upset. That's just a case where I think he's trying to get a better feel for the umpire's strike zone.
This one's into the outfield. Could be extra bases. Wow, it ends up being just a 1-out single. Man at first. This is J.J. Bleday. Right side. Base hit. Quick throw back in. Lead runner holds it second with 1 gone.
2 consecutive base hits for his team. He kind of rolled over on this pitch a little bit, but he got enough behind it to shoot it through for a knock. And you'll take that anytime you can get him to find a hole.
And now a chance for Shea Langoliers. Out number 2. And now the first baseman, Tyler Soderstrom. Swing and a ball hit out towards left center field. Morel makes a nice running catch. New inning getting started. Now here's the Tampa Bay cleanup hitter, Josh Lowe. There's the strike.
No ball. 1 strike.
foul tip. Oh, that got her